when you got three people on top who own more wealth than the bottom half of American society, 170 million people, you know what? That's oligarchy.
Calling out billionaires and soon-to-be trillionaires as they choke our democracy has generally been the job for liberals, Democrats. But the irony here is the strongest support for these billionaires comes from MAGA, who've been conned into believing that these American oligarchs give a shit about them. But of course they don't. The latest grift comes from this guy, Jeff Bezos, who is, as we speak, currently shitting on the residents of Venice, Italy, as he and his billionaire buddies throw a $50 million wedding for him and his lovely second wife. You might remember Bezos' not-so-distant divorce, where his opulent lifestyle was revealed. The press called Bezos' divorce amicable, which makes sense since he gave the mother of his 4 children 4% of Amazon, while he kept 12%. Those numbers equal billions of annual income. But here's the part that's most disturbing. From 2006 to 2024, when Bezos' wealth increased by $227 billion, he only reported a total of $6.5 billion in income and paid a tax rate of 1.1%. And all of this, of course, coincides with the billionaire bro's suck-up to sociopath in chief.
Here's the good news. I'm very rich. I don't need anybody's money. It's nice. I'm really rich.
Trump's net worth has grown over $1 billion in his first 6 months in office, grifting his tariff stock market pump and dump and his clear violation of the emoluments clause by pushing the cryptocurrency that he currently owns. No one is even hiding it anymore.
Now, this weekend's star-studded Venice Wedding of the multi-billionaire Amazon founder Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez continuing to really galvanize activist groups, people in the Italian city protesting as they see it as a sign of the growing disparity between the haves and the have-nots.
They came together ever since it was announced that this wedding was going to be happening in Venice earlier this year. But now, of course, we're coming up to the big day itself. Lots of secrecy as to what's going to be happening. But local reports say it's expected to start the events on Thursday and run up all the way till Saturday. And what the protesters say is that having an event like this in the city is reducing Venice to simply a playground for the rich. And the protesters believe right now that they actually have some kind of victories, because originally the wedding reception was supposed to be held at a 16th century building right in the city centre. But the protesters had said they were going to block all the canals leading to that building with inflatable crocodiles.
According to a report from ProPublica, billionaires like Bezos in the U.S. paid little or no income tax relative to the vast amount of wealth they've accumulated over the years. The report noted that Bezos did not pay a penny in federal income taxes in 2007, 11, 18, and 21. It also pointed out that Musk paid no federal income tax in 2018. To put that in context, the average federal tax rate for a teacher is 22%. Now, some billionaires do pay taxes, but it's not the amount that you would think. For instance, ProPublica's report showed that between 2014 and 2023, Bezos paid $1.1 billion in total taxes on $11.22 billion of income. Meanwhile, his wealth grew by $99 billion, meaning the true tax rate was less than 1% during that period. And it was no coincidence that Bezos, Zuckerberg, Musk, and the CEOs from Apple, Google, and TikTok all attended Trump's inauguration. Musk's $200+ million that he gave to Trump had a huge impact on the election. And Musk, with his rebranded X, allowed right-wing hate groups to post lies and dangerous content that ultimately favored Trump's crazy base. So Trump rewarded him with outrageous funding for his SpaceX company, where the U.S. paid him about $8 million a day so he could build and promote rockets that exploded about 40% of the time. All was well until Musk pushed back on the budget bill and basically called Trump a pedophile.
Thursday night, you're going up the escalator? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years. Can you believe it?
An apparently friendly encounter with a man the president is now looking to distance himself from.
But we have no idea how much stock Trump owns in these companies that he now promotes. But Bezos' purchase of the Washington Post and his clampdown on opinions all started with the Post not endorsing a candidate, an obvious nod to Trump, but a more terrific rebuke to the paper's coverage of Trump's actions and 34 felony convictions.
Saying that more than 200,000 people end up canceling their digital subscriptions to the Washington Post following the paper's decision, which, of course, is owned by Jeff Bezos, to block an endorsement of Vice President Harris.
And Zuckerberg did the same, allowing dangerous right-wing posts unfettered access to Facebook. Again. But, and here's the good news, social media has allowed for the growth of people like Bernie Sanders and AOC. And remarkably, and you may think this is good or bad, the New York City mayoral primary was won by a socialist Democrat. Why? I think because this is beginning to sink in.
They're born into networks, not just wealth. Money alone doesn't open the highest doors. Bloodlines do. Connections whispered across private dinners and silent boardrooms move mountains faster than resumes ever could. Opportunity flows through inheritance of reputation, influence, and silent handshakes you never even see. While you're sending applications into the void, they're getting invited to private tables where futures are decided. They get taught how money works, while you're taught how to work for money. You're taught that hard work pays off. They're taught that smart ownership pays infinitely more. Schools teach you how to be a good worker. Wealthy families teach their children how to become owners of the workers, how assets, equity, and leverage replace sweat. While you grind, they multiplied. They leverage debt as a weapon, while you drown in it. You're taught that debt is a trap, and for you, it is. For them, it's a weapon. They use debt to buy businesses, build real estate empires, fund ventures, all while protecting their cash flow and lowering their taxes. Rich debt builds power. Poor debt builds prisons you decorate with paychecks and false security. They control information before it becomes public. By the time breaking news reaches you, they've already moved their money. Access beats intelligence every time. Insider conversations, early access to deals, private tips. They don't need to predict the market when they're steering it. You gamble in public arenas. They win in private rooms. They pay less taxes legally than the working class. The laws aren't broken. They're operating exactly as designed. Those who wrote the system made sure ownership, investment, and trust funds are rewarded, while wage labor gets taxed at the highest rates. You fund the roads and systems they glide across. You're trapped by a code they slip through effortlessly. They own assets that print money while they sleep. Your income stops when you stop working. Their income snowballs while they vacation, sleep, and golf. Rental properties, stocks, businesses, royalties. Assets don't ask for sick days or holidays.
Young people whose college debt is crushing their future are joining the older Democrats who are seeing cuts in so-called entitlements like Medicare and calling out for this billionaire brotherhood to end. Which makes this quick message even more important. When you're researching Medicare, don't do it alone. It's a maze with landmines that could cost you penalties that might stay with you for the rest of your life. I just went through Medicare enrollment, and I like to think I'm pretty smart, but it's so easy to miss things because the industry is far from transparent. Fortunately, though, I just learned about Chapter, and after a quick 30-minute call with them, my wife and I are going to save between, hold on to your hats, $50,000 to $80,000 over the course of our lives. That blew my mind. Chapter is completely independent. It's the only national Medicare advisor that compares every available plan. And when you call, you talk to an honest, patient, and unbiased advisor who'll walk you through everything, step by step. I know because I did it, and it works. There's no pressure to sign up. And look, if you're already on the right plan, Chapter will tell you. Call Chapter right now. The number's on the screen, 816-953-0071. That's 816-953-0071. I have one more thought on Jeff Bezos. He and his fiancée are everything that's wrong with our system today. Because of Citizens United and Supreme Court decision that allowed billionaires to donate unlimited dark dollars to sway Congress to their wishes, billionaires are now, in effect, running our government. And while Trump is cutting everything from Medicaid to Planned Parenthood to food stamps and welfare, it's not without irony that those that are hurt the most support the very people sticking it to them.
You know, you don't have to like the words that come out of the man's mouth, but sometimes in life we all need a good paddling from the principal.
And one last thing, the wealth of the world's 3,000 billionaires has surged by $6 trillion over the last 10 years. And the total wealth of the richest 1% of the global population has gained at least $33 trillion in the last decade. That number is enough to end annual global poverty 22 times over. And while these people are starving, we're all shopping on Amazon. And Bezos and his bride have a $50 million wedding. And guess who's their best man?
Goddamn right.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Do you have no shame?
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong?
Yes.
Tick-tock.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.